Hello everyone, and welcome to the Crimson Archive. I am Dreg, and I shall be a curator this afternoon. For those of you who follow me on my Instagram, I know I mentioned that my first video was actually going to be a review on the kyber crystals and lightsabers from Disney World's Galaxy's Edge. I still intend on doing those. However, things went a little more awry than I expected, and I actually managed to get this up and working before I could get that setup working, so I'm working with what I got. Now, quick disclaimer before any of you start to feel sick, if you are motion sick, I am currently in VR. So, if you get motion sick, you might want to skip this video now. I will be doing other content that will not cause your stomachs to want to turn upside down and implode at a later date. Mainly other video games that don't cause motion sickness, and like I mentioned before, the reviews on the kyber crystals, lightsabers, and so forth, which I'll be doing in person. For those of you who do not have a motion sickness problem, are interested in VR, and are staying to see whatever this nonsense is, welcome to Blade and Sorcery. I'm doing a quick little look at the game. I am actually very familiar with this game already. I have been playing it for a number of years. However, it just recently got a very massive update, and what better time to do a review on it for a growing channel than just after an update. Now, what you see right now is basically my player home, I guess you could call it. There's not really much here. I've got some weapon racks, this stuff looks pretty cool. I'm very familiar with, again, using a lot of these weapons, and the physics are not bad. As a HEMA practitioner myself, I can say that some things are a little weird. The physics are kind of off, especially the weight and lag behind on a lot of the weapons, as we can see from here really quick. Ooh, very nice. It's going to be hard to notice, but you can feel it just a little bit in the swing. For those of you who probably aren't familiar with HEMA or have never actually wielded a true weapon before, or a real sword, I'm sure this all actually looks fucking perfect and beautiful. It still is. It still very much so is. Now, I will also mention really quick that I have already modded the game. Okay, a fair amount. I'm not going to say heavily. There's probably only like 25 mods. That's not very heavy for what's normal for me. But I will be doing a look at just base game for starters. So I just spawned into the world, and I mean, this is all looking amazing, honestly. I'm using an Oculus Rift 2. No sponsorships, by the way. Just preferred headset. And honestly, the graphics here are beautiful. Some of the VR games out there are not as great when it comes to graphic quality, so it's very nice to see something that looks so good. Their fire could use a little bit of work, but whatever. Now, this game is a VR combat simulator. But it's a little more than just a combat simulator. While, yes, the weapons are there for use, I also have magic. Now, like I said before, I modded the game, and this is a little more than what is actually basic. What comes standard with the game is... No, that's telekinesis. Fire. No. Gravity. Where is it? That might... Oh, is that it? Okay, yes it is. Fire, gravity, and electricity. Those are the three standard magics that come with the game. Everything else are mods that I've brought up. Now, a lot of this stuff is pretty nice, honestly. I don't want to mess up my my little home here, because everything looks nice, so I'm going to actually really quick go to... Oof. Ignore the Star Wars looking stuff. Let's go to... Where's my arena? There's the arena. Yep, sandbox and travel. These are kind of interesting, little tips in the loading screen. Again, actually don't mind that specific tip that goes into one of the mods that I brought in. I do apologize if the game is a little jumpy at times. I'm still figuring out the graphic settings to make it work the best. The game does have a really high graphic quality requirement for optimal use. My computer is not quite there, but it works pretty well. So, at spawn, I have, oh, look at that short sword, and a dagger. Pretty basic, pretty basic. Now, let's see here. Oh wait, I was talking about magic. Yes! So, the magic in here is kind of interesting. I'll start with the basics. A little bit of fire magic. Now those look pretty. Now you can see it's actually slowly decreasing my MP bar as I hold. So I'm just gonna... Oh, that one didn't fire. Somewhat gesture-based. It's not just going to set off as soon as I let go. I have to kind of throw it. They don't fly all that fast, but the nice little part about the fireballs is... Nope, that was bad aim. If you know what you're doing, you can actually aim them a little bit, and I've seen people do some really crazy hits out of nowhere. The NPCs can also use magic to an extent, which can get a little terrifying in the middle of a fight. They will shoot fireballs at you or try and electrocute you. Yeah, unlimited power is only fun when we get to it. After showing off, well, electricity and the fireballs, next comes gravity. Nope, that's not gravity. That's gravity. There we go. Sorry, that was the armament hockey. Don't mind that. That looks fancy. There we go. Pretty much force push. Also, while you have gravity magic enabled, you are also able to apply your force grab technique on people. Now, here's the other thing. There's more than a few ways to use the magic in this game. Sure, you saw me do a force push, and you've seen the force grab, and so on and so forth, but there's a few more interesting aspects to various things. For one, let me just grab gravity back there. Some magics can combine. Oh, doesn't that look fancy? Now see, gravity magic, when combined together like this, you're actually able to then create a 0G environment. You are not subject to the 0Gs of the 0G environment, but any enemy that steps inside this bubble is. Makes them float, makes projectiles fudge up. It's kind of fun. And if you're really good at knife throwing, which I am still getting the hang of, we'll get to that. If you're really good at knife throwing, it can actually be really bloody fun to just have a bunch of people floating around you and you just... It actually works. I'm not messing with you. Now, the other fun part about the magics in this game is they can be applied to weapons for varying effects. Let me just get my knife back. One of my mods right there, longer telekinesis. I can actually grab things from a much further range than what is actually normal. So as you can see, this thing's glowing. Oh, that's another mod, don't mind it. You're just seeing all my mods today. So by pulling this up, I can actually apply it to the blade, and you can see it slowly started to get a little bit darker. It already kind of had the enchantment on it. I'm not 100% sure how. I've never seen it self-enchant like that. But now, the weapon itself has half its weight. This is kind of useful for throwing. I can get more distance out of it without any drop. And the people I hit with it also start to float. But that's not the only fun ones. Let me just apply a little bit of electricity to it. And now, this thing does electric damage. That may not mean much to you without having seen me actually fight with this thing yet, but electric damage basically stuns your enemy, makes him go... Makes him easier to hit, honestly. Or, at the very least, gives you a small break so you can, like, collect your wits and figure out what you are doing. Next, and by far one of my favorites... Yeah, just heat that sucker up and cut somebody. Fire damage is not something to mess with. It can hurt really bad. I once was actually holding a fireball, about to throw it at someone, when a guy shot an arrow at me from a distance. The arrow passed through the fireball in my hand and actually took on a fire enchantment, and then hit me, and did enough damage to actually kill me. Granted, I was at a little bit lower health at the time. I'd already taken a couple of hits, but it hurt more than arrows normally do. God, I just can't stick my knives in anything today, can I? I'm just gonna... There we go. And you can apply those enchantments to any and all of the weapons. Is kind of fun. However, these enchantments don't last forever. They will start to wear out. See? After a while, they'll be gone entirely. This still isn't actually gone entirely, but it's very close. It's nowhere near the glow it had a moment ago. And now it's gone. Now, for sake of amusement on the channel, if any of you would like to post challenges that you would like to see me go through, using either the list of enemies and challenge waves that I have on hand, both through vanilla and through modification, as well as there is actually a dungeon in this game that randomly generates enemies and rooms. Kind of fun, kind of annoying, kind of deadly. I will be taking challenges for what to go through there with. I will load myself up with all of my slots, which, mind you as well, I also have a few extra slots, courtesy of modifications. Normally it is just one on each shoulder, one on each hip, but that seemed boring to me. No, I'm messing with you. It works just fine as far as like the actual game content and playing goes. I just wanted more slots because I'm a little bit of a hoarder like that. So, to give you guys a quick look at the game's fighting mechanics, I'm going to just take... Do I want a greatsword? Nah. Longsword? Sure. I'll take a longsword and go through a quick 1v1. I am going to be using one of the... Yeah, there we go. 1v1 bandits. Ooh, that's endless. Never mind. I was going to go vanilla, but instead I'm actually going to use one of my modified ones. There we go. That should do. Yeah, that'll do. I guess this is a chance for me to showcase, then, one of the modifications that I often play with, called, Medieval Mega Pack. It just adds a lot more weapons to the game. And adds them to the... I don't want to say level listing, because this isn't the same as most other games, there's no levels. It adds them to the spawns for the NPCs. So the NPCs will actually spawn with the Medieval Mega Pack weapons. As you can see, this guy has some kind of, I don't know, cavalry saber? The NPCs are still kind of work in progress, if you ask me. But... here's where the combat starts. See, this is what I mean about the NPCs being a little bit of work in progress. You have to basically let your guard down before they'll actually do anything. Now mind you, I make this look easy. It's not. I've been wielding swords since I was a very small child. I am far too accustomed to using these weapons than probably any normal person will or should. And I got caught right there. Oh, that's the other fun thing about Blade and Sorcery. It has a dismemberment engine. If you hit just right, and I'm still kind of getting used to this, I think you... Whoa! I'm not actually 100% sure how I did that. I think I got his throat. There are hitboxes on different parts of the body for various things. There are soft target locations like the throat that deal instantaneous death. And if you can get your hit just right, you can actually decapitate, dismember, and just altogether dice people up. Now, quick disclaimer, I am not a psychopath. I just find this fun for the sake of using weapons. And, as you will see in, I'm actually going to say later videos, because I'm not going to get too much of it in this first one. As you will see in my later videos, there's a lot of mods for this game, including various pop culture inclusions. I have lightsabers in here. Now, who wouldn't want to actually fight a Jedi or Sith with their weapon of choice? And yes, I have also rounds that bring in this Jedi and this. I'm going to switch to a sword for a second, just because mobility is nice. Now, I will say this about the NPCs, they're not anywhere near as intelligent as fighting real people. They will try and move their stances based on where your weapon is, and they're even more irritating when they have a shield. But they're not half bad, and in large numbers, or difficulties courtesy of modifications, they can actually be quite scary. They also don't exactly die immediately if you hit them. If the wound you deal is shallow enough, they will survive. That is also depending on where you hit. Like I said, there are soft target locations like the throat where any wound is a kill shot. Same with the head. It's one of the reasons why I like doing that so much. I missed his throat. Now, see what I mean about this game? It's kinda fun. It's kinda fun. Little brutal. I will not deny that by any stretch. And yeah, I'm a little cocky. I'll admit that. I've been playing this game for far too long, and looking out the corner of my eye, I can see the way this guy's about to move, and I know exactly what he's doing. The other thing about these NPCs, after a while, you get way too used to their fighting styles. However, yes, that still happens on occasion. Also, their weapons can make a very big difference. I have actually had an NPC use axe to hook my sword and pull it right out of my hand. Shit. See what I mean? I know exactly what they're going to do already. Let me just put that behind my back, go into my old fencing practices. It's not a rapier, but it'll do. Actually. A little closer. Yeah, I know, I just allowed myself to get hit. Oh wow, that's nice. Yes, I know, I just allowed myself to get hit, which is typically a big... See, if you spotted that little lag and delay right there, that's what I was talking about with some of the physics. What's great though is you actually don't have to use swords in this game. Aside from what I mentioned before about the magic, let me just do that. Here, I'll even let the guy stand up. Yeah, it's a little more dangerous. Harder to get up close and personal. Knocked his ass unconscious. Whoa. Now, there's a few fun little things about Blade and Sorcery. Their physics engines are a little weird. But this is kind of a problem that VR as a whole has. You see, in real world, if I were to uppercut someone, I'd have to be considerably strong enough to move their entire body weight to actually move their entire body. But since these guys are weightless, and in the real world there's nothing stopping me from continuing to move my arm forward, which still applies force to the bodies inside VR, I can feasibly uppercut someone with enough force to send them flying if I get it just right on the chin. And don't kill myself on their sword. No, I have to stand up so I can try and send you flying. See what I mean? Now that was actually even still kind of weak. I didn't hit him just right. If you have the training in martial arts and know how to get around the sword and hit just right on that chin, you can send these guys up there. But that's kind of the fun of the game. It's both a little bit realistic and a little bit nonsensical. Now, I think that's all for this video today. I will be continuing to create videos on Blade and Sorcery here. I will be taking your challenges and seeing how well I survive. I will be doing reviews on the numerous modifications I have and will be continuing to gather as time goes forward. So, without further ado, it's been wonderful seeing you all. Have a fantastic day, have a fantastic life. Enjoy the archive.